I own a few cameras. Okay, I own a lot of cameras. Maybe I own too many cameras. With that in mind, you would think I'd be trying to sell some, but no. I bought a new one. If you've watched any of my old videos on this channel, you probably know that I own not only the Canon SureShot 60 zoom, but also the SureShot 105 zoom. They're fantastic point and shoot cameras that are really clear despite the size, give you great dynamic range, and they're really easy to use. Just automatic settings, great for beginners, but even if you're experienced, they're fantastic if you don't mind the fact you won't actually have manual mode to shoot on. Now, despite the fact I already own both of these, I've always wanted to know what else was in the family, and recently when I went to a car boot sale, I stumbled upon this, the Canon SureShot Tele. Now this is, as the name suggests, a telephoto lens. It is fantastic in terms of the pictures it takes, but I do have some problems with it. We'll get into those. So I don't know if car boot culture really exists anywhere else in the world, but essentially car boots are giant thrift sales where you're able to buy second-hand goods from people, usually directly out of the trunk of their car. Sometimes they're not, but it's a culture that exists in England, and they're usually a great place to get discount cameras like this. It's become slightly harder thanks to YouTube and certain popular YouTube photographers, but every now and then you'll stumble upon a bargain, and I managed to pick this up for £10. Now, I'll show you the pictures I took in a minute. I'm really happy with them, but I will go over the cons first before I go over the pros. Essentially, this is a zoom lens, and you click a button on the back here to get it to zoom, and it is very loud. This is the first problem. If you ever wanted to do any street shooting, this is probably not the camera to do it on. It also has batteries that aren't the easiest to get hold of, and not only that, when you get the batteries, you actually have to use a screwdriver to open the compartment. So every time you need to change the batteries, you would need to get a screwdriver and remove these two screws, which is not the most convenient thing. Not only that, but there's actually an LCD panel on the top which tells you how many shots you've taken and what your battery is like. And when you're not using the camera, that panel is being powered by the battery. So even if you're not using it to shoot, you're actually losing battery life to this LCD panel. So it's not the most thoughtful design, especially when the other two have battery compartments that can just be opened simply. I don't really see why they did that. So despite the price, those two issues were kind of glaring from the beginning. I kind of felt like I wasn't going to enjoy this experience, but I was actually really happy using it. The viewfinder is decent. It feels really nice and the ergonomics are good. It's not the biggest hand grip, but it's easy to use, and it's quite fun. Apart from that incredibly loud zoom lens, I actually enjoy taking shots on it. So when I bought this, I had been told that it was tested, it was working, but you know, you always want to find these things out for yourself rather than find out the hard way. So I put a post out on Instagram and asked if anyone wanted to model for me, and I got a response from Chris Allen, who is a fantastically talented photographer. I'm going to put his details in the link, you should check them out. And he and his girlfriend Millie, who's also an incredibly talented photographer, both offered to model for me. So I headed from North London to South London, and we got some shots. one thing which is quite an interesting feature, I think it's unique, I don't think I've ever seen in any other model of camera or any makeup camera, is there is a translucent plastic shield essentially, which drops down in front of the lens and is supposed to soften your images. Now I say supposed to because rather than soften them, it just makes them blurry. It's not really effective. It's a great idea, but I think due to the cheap plastic they've used, it's not very effective. If you ever did want to use this camera and want to achieve an effect like that, I would suggest just spending the money on something like this. This is the Moment Cine Bloom lens. It'll give you a fantastic softening and diffusion of your light, and it'd be much better served than using the one that comes on this. Other than that, I was actually really happy with these. I put Kodak Color Plus in here because I didn't want to spend too much money on higher grade film stock if the camera didn't work. But going forward, I'd definitely be happy putting some Portra 400, 800 in here, or maybe even some Cinestill. I really like the results you can get out of this. This won't be the last time I use it. And yeah, I'm really happy with what I got today. I would like to thank both Chris and Millie again for posing. Check out their work. They're both fantastic and unbelievably talented, two wonderful people. I want to thank you for watching this. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be posting a lot more videos soon, including more cosplay work and some interesting digital cameras you should check out. Thanks again. See you soon.